I'm John, welcome to the gun shop, and today we're going to be talking about chokes. Firstly, what is a choke? A shotgun bore, a shotgun barrel, has a bore size, a 12 bore, of 0.729 of an inch width. If you just shot out of that, it would shoot like a cylinder choke. It would spread quite rapidly. If you'd like your shot to be more effective at longer range, have slightly denser patterning, not just hitting the bird with one piece, but two pieces of shot, bird or clay, or maybe three pieces of shot, you need to get that pattern density up. By doing this, you have two options. Firstly, more shot, so we'd all be shooting 50 grams, 7.5 for long range clays, or constrict your choke, constrict your barrel and actually push that choke together, that lead together for longer, push the shot together for longer.
So, what is choke? Choke is constriction at the end of a muzzle. Normally a 12 bore is 0.729 of an inch, and that is the width of a 12 bore, although that can change per gun. However, so a quarter choke, as we would call it, or an improved cylinder as you Americans would call it, it has 10 thou of constriction. So that would make a 729.719. Next up is modified choke, or as we would like to call it, a half choke. A half choke is 20 thou of constriction over the standard bore size. Next is a 3/4 choke, or as you would call it in America, an improved modified choke. An improved modified is 30 thou of constriction. A full choke, or a full choke as everybody calls it, or sometimes just known as choke, is 40 thou of constriction. However, each manufacturer will tweak this slightly. This is just what most people would consider to be the normals here.
Obviously, cylinder chokes still exist because you can't shoot over a threaded barrel. So if you want no constriction whatsoever, a cylinder choke is for you. So, two quick things. Firstly, not all shotgun bores are 0.729 of an inch. So, to actually gauge how much choke is there, you can't just use a choke gauge. Seeing people use choke gauges can really sort of wind you up because you don't know what bore size that choke gauge was made for, unless your choke gauge has been matched to your gun. What you really need is one of these if you're running on a fixed choke gun. How this works, if we just pop a choke in there, this is a full choke. As we pop this in, all your gun shops should have one of these. Pop this in the barrel, you set it to zero it on your bore size. You then pull it out into your choke, where you should find this one. This full choke is actually only 38 thou. Which isn't actually a full 40 thou of constriction. But without actually testing this on something like this, you won't know. So certainly with fixed choke guns, it's worth popping into your gun shop and getting them to actually measure how many thou of constriction. So that is your practical constriction in name or in number of thou. The other way of measuring it is the percentage of shot on target or inside of a 30-40 inch circle at a set distance, and actually measuring how much shot is inside there will give you a practical choking as opposed to theoretical choking. But we'll not go into that because all we can really measure without going and shooting paper with your gun and your cartridges is this. So, two things very quickly. Firstly, different cartridges will pattern very differently, and secondly, each barrel will pattern differently with each cartridge. So, although what we're going to show you now is important, it's very important also that you get out there with your favourite cartridges and your favourite chokes and go and play. So, what we did is we set this SX3 up, we put a big strip of paper, and we went out and we shot driven grouse, which is probably our preferred game load here at the gun shop, at paper to gauge different widths at different distances. And here's the results.
So, as you can see, the real differences between the full and the cylinder choke were at the shorter ranges. You know, at 10 yards, the cylinder choke was double the width of the full choke. At 20 yards, it was still almost double. And actually, that retained its width over the full all the way to about 40 yards, when the 40 yards spread and the cylinder had almost stopped spreading. So it was quite interesting to see that actually at the longer ranges, it wouldn't make too much difference. So obviously, the core pattern density on a full choke was more, which we'll go on to in a little bit, but actually, you know, the actual full width of pattern was much of a muchness out at those long ranges when we're talking a 10-foot versus a 12-foot pattern, unlike at close ranges when we're talking a 4-foot versus a 2-foot pattern.
Right, so that's how this Winchester SX3 patterned with all the chokes at ranges from 10 to 70 yards. And as you can see, the findings were good, actually. And it's always nice as a human, whether it really makes much of a difference to the way you shoot or not, but to be armed with information makes you confident. This leads to a whole nother question of density, choosing your cartridge and matching your cartridge to the width of your pattern, and so you've got the density you want at the range you like. So as you can see here, we've just done a real basic one. To work out density, it goes something like this. Full choke at 40 metres has a 55-inch pattern. 28 grams of 6 shot gives you a nominal 225 balls per ounce. That's 8 pellets per gram. 32 grams is 257 pellets, nominally. 55-inch pattern has an area of 2,375 square inches. 2,375 square inches over 257 pellets equals 1 pellet per 9 1/4 inches squared. And that looks like this. So there's your 3 and a bit by 3 and a bit inch square with a 9 1/4 square inches of space, with 1 pellet in the middle and then 1 pellet in each of the surrounding squares. In an ideal world. This boils down to the main point in this video. This never happens. So the ideal world scenario just doesn't exist. Obviously the middle of your pattern will be denser, the edges will be sparser, you'll get deformities in shot if you use cheaper loads. It's why we use the driven grouse, because you will get less deformities with the cartridge the harder the lead, and you will struggle to find a better quality harder lead than they put in the driven grouse load. And that will reduce the amount of odd balls you have flying out the edge and increase the amount of balls in the centre of your pattern, which is where you want the density to be really, because we're all try and be as precise as possible with the shotgun. Alright, most importantly, there's a downloadable file version of that chart we showed you in the description below. Have a little look, but get out with your own gun, test it, find out how your gun patterns with your cartridges. There's no substitute for that. Take care, thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.